Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Please
meet you.
have a chair right there.
Thank you.
We thank you for coming in today, and we're going to spend just a little bit of quality time, I think, here, just getting to know you a little better. So we're going to start out with questioning right away. Okay. And then there'll be a time at the end that you'll be able to ask us.
Okay.
You have a resume for us?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so you are here to interview for the resettlement caseworker, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Can you tell us what you understand that position to be?
Well, it's a position that, first of all, welcomes refugees from other countries. You're working one-to-one or just with a group of them. Definitely providing services for employment, or if they want to learn the language, English language, and also checking up with them, on occasions.
Okay, okay. We describe it as to operate as a cultural broker. What does that mean to you?
Well, in my perspective, I would say to bind two cultures, especially educate them in our values, how Americans, how we think, and also to bridge the two cultures together.
In your mind, what are some of the first things a refugee to the United States of America would need to learn? Some of the skills or experiences that they would need to succeed here?
Well, definitely number one is language skills. They need to learn how to communicate with people, even to obtain a job, just to at least communicate with their supervisor, boss. So that's definitely a priority for a refugee if they don't understand English. As well as to obtain skills to, depending on what work environment they want to go into. So give them a skill set, either out of a culture or electricity or plumbing, anything around there. So.
Because you're dealing with multiple cultures, I notice you say you're bilingual. Have you experienced other cultures, and can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, definitely grew up in a multicultural environment. Per se, from another culture, I would say I've experienced, I went to Israel for 2 weeks, so I experienced a little bit of their eating habits, the way they greet each other, their norms, so just to understand their mindset. Also, when I did my internship in the Dominican Republic, although I'm a Latina, their perspective on things is way different from what I view. So, per se, they're very open, per se, than I would be. So it was great to understand where they come from and try to bind my views and their views together.
In a position like this, how would you measure your success?
Measure my success. Well, first to see if refugees, if they're getting something out of it, if I see that they're progressing in this country, giving them the skill sets that they would need to be on their own. So if I see progression, I would see that I'm per se being successful in the position.
Tell us about your management skills. As a caseworker, you will be assigned multiple cases, multiple relationships. Talk a little bit about your ability to multitask and handle different responsibilities at the same time.
Well, as you can see in my resume, I'm a student manager presently, and so right there it says I just supervise student employees, but I multitask in that position. I make sure every student employee is doing their job requirements, as well as floating around, communicating with my managers, with my supervisor, also training the student employees in the correct format, that the company standards and also the state standard, like sanitation or food handling. So I definitely gained that ability to multitask in different pressures. There's days that it's very easy, but there's days that you have to work very quick. And Also, I would say my intern experience in the Dominican Republic has showed me how to be flexible, especially in a culture where things are more laid back. And per se, I come from a background where things are done in order. You want to do it correctly, but I had to learn how to adjust and also to multitask different abilities. So, for example, I translated so just translating is from English to Spanish was a task, but at the same time, I was engaging with the children in the children program. So I do believe I obtained the ability to multitask.
How about in terms of practical skills, computer skills, filing, paperwork, all the kinds of things that you would have to do?
I would say I was a resident assistant, so I definitely did that, in which I had to keep up with my residents, their filing, and if any conflict, anything that went against the college standards, I would keep that in file. If any emergency would come up, I would have to make sure I file that, I write it down, I write that report, I send it to my AC, and then the AC would obviously contact the RD. But I was definitely in charge of just making sure everything was organized in the office and just keeping up with my residents and with the girls around in our dorm.
Our time is up. I'm sorry. Do you have any questions for us?
Yes, I do. In your organization, obviously there's a lot of multicultural conflicts. How would you, in your experience, how did you resolve those type of conflicts?
Well, conflict is conflict in an organization like ours. It's not so much multicultural, but it's a lot of people who are, like for this position, have to be strong and an advocate, and they all get together and they advocate for themselves, and so then you have conflict. And it's the same as any organization. When you get a large group of people together, you have a large number of views. I think one thing that pulls us together and helps resolve conflict is our Christian values, and we can share with you our Christian values and the values that we operate on, and that's what we ask everybody else to operate on, and that really does help us in resolving conflicts. We go back to our core values. Once we focus on those, a lot of the conflict goes away. Anything else you'd like to add?
That's great. Great. Thank you very much.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Appreciate you coming.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
It was
Bye-bye.
a pleasure.
Bye.